Picture this for a second. It is, let's say 3 a.m.
Okay, the classic witching hour.
Right, exactly. And the house is completely silent. You know, that thick, heavy quiet that only exists in the dead of night.
Oh, yeah, where the only thing you can hear is, like, the low mechanical hum of the refrigerator.
Yes, exactly that. So you wake up with this incredibly dry throat, and you are doing that low, groggy shuffle out of your bed.
It's dragging your feet.
Yeah, you're walking down the dark hallway, barefoot on the cold floor, just heading toward the kitchen for a simple glass of water.
And you're probably only half awake, right?
Totally. You rub your eyes, trying to clear the sleep away. You looked up, and standing at the very end of your hallway is an 8-foot-tall, hyper-realistic version of Freddy Fazbear.
Oh, man, just waiting there.
Just waiting. And I mean, we are not talking about some cartoonish drawing or a guy in a...
Right, it's not a theme park mascot.
No, we are talking about a massive, hulking, animatronic nightmare.
That is genuinely terrifying.
Right. You can literally see the rusted metallic joints catching the faint moonlight coming in from the window.
Mm-hmm.
You can hear this heavy, hydraulic whirring sound of its neck as it slowly tilts its head.
The sound design on those things is always what gets me.
It is the worst. And its eyes are just these hollow, flickering pits staring right at you from the shadows.
Okay, I hate that. I really do.
Well, hold on, because imagine an entirely different scene. Let's say you are looking out your front door in the middle.
Okay, safe inside the house.
Exact. And there is a single, crisp dollar bill just blowing around on your driveway.
Just scraping against the concrete.
Yeah, just scraping along. But as you squint through the peephole, your brain registers this, spatial anomaly. The shadows around the driveway not make sense.
Because it's not actually a lucky find.
No, not at all. You suddenly realize it is bait.
Oh, yeah.
That dollar bill has been carefully, deliberately placed there by this massive, terrifying creature that's just waiting at a sight in the dark.
It's just holding its breath, basically.
Right. Hoping you will unlock that deadbolt and step outside to claim it.
Both of those scenarios tap into something so incredibly primal. I mean, it is the immediate inversion of safety.
Yes, the inversion of safety. That is exactly it.
Because you take the lure of the familiar, like your own hallway,
Right.
or a piece of current, and it's instantly weaponized into a lethal trap.
And that weaponization of the familiar is exactly what we are plunging into today.
It is a wild ride.
It really is. The mission for this deep dive is to explore the bizarre, the deeply unsettling, and honestly, the sometimes completely hilarious world of TikTok CGI horror.
Because it really bounces between those two extremes, doesn't it?
It totally does. And we are looking at this highly specific digital phenomenon through a very particular lens.
Right, the reaction channels.
Yeah, specifically through a YouTube reaction channel called Capi, which is run by this creator named Tyler.
He's a fascinating case study in all this.
He really is. Through the transcripts of his videos, we are going to unpack the psychology behind why these digital artists are turning our most innocent childhood characters into absolute nightmares.
Which they do constantly. It is an obsession.
We are also going to examine the very specific geographical tropes of these bite-sized scares.
Where they take place matters so much.
Exactly. And finally, we will dig into the complex digital ecosystem that makes the original artists behind these terrifying masks surprisingly hard to track down.
Because we are looking at a highly structured pipeline of digital fear here.
That's a great way to put it.
It really is a modern folklore ecosystem, and it operates on very specific...
So let's lay out the syllabus for today because we have a massive stack of sources to get through.
We really do.
We are working primarily from transcripts of this creator, Tyler, reacting to these massive talks.
Right, and these compilations feature the staggering CGI work of independents.
Yeah, we have names in the sources like Lights Are Off and Shortest Blockbuster.
Those are the heavy hitters in this space.
But here is the wrinkle, right? Tyler is not watching the original artist's pages.
No, he's watching the aggregators.
Exactly. He is reacting to videos that have been curated and re-uploaded by compilation channels.
These middleman channels.
Yeah, middlemen with names like Brooks Geo, TikTok Trends, but I see it.
Right.
And alongside those transcripts, we have this incredibly telling article snippet detailing the vanishing trail of these original...
Which is a huge structural issue we need to talk about.
We definitely will. We are going to get into the mechanics of that economy later, but first, I want to talk about the monster.
Good, because it is so easy to look at a 15-second clip of a scary monster on a phone and dismiss it as just a goofy internet jump scare.
Right, like just a quick hit of adrenaline for someone waiting for the bus.
Exactly. But if you actually look at the mechanics of what these animators are doing, they are conducting a masterclass in psychological manipulation.
Oh, without a doubt.
They are demonstrating exactly how we use proxy figures, like a YouTube reactor, to safely process profound feelings of dread and powerlessness.
Okay, let's unpack the mechanics of that, because the most prominent theme screaming out from these sources is this relentless, almost obsessive transformation of beloved childhood characters.
It is everywhere. They just turn them into grotesque monsters.
It is everywhere in these compilations. We are talking about characters that represent the ultimate safety and innocence, just completely corrupted.
Right.
For example, Tyler watches a video of Thomas the Train, but the animator has not just made him look a little angry or whatever.
No, it's way worse.
It is so much worse. The video shows this colossal, rusted, biomechanical version of Thomas literally eating a whole...
Just think about the symbolic weight of that for a second.
Right. Wild.
You have a machine that was entirely coded in our childhoods as friendly, helpful, and totally subordinate to human needs.
It's the train that wants to be really useful to society.
Exactly. The animator takes that subservience and inverts it into total consumption.
Yeah.
The machine is no longer serving the human, it is consuming the human.
And it does not stop with Thomas. The sources detail a video of Barney the dinosaur, which is like the ultimate symbol of unconditional childhood love.
Oh, the Barney one is rough.
Right. In the video, he is standing in the dark, speaking in this incredibly distorted, guttural voice. Right before he just abruptly gets obliterated by a massive truck.
It's just tonal whiplash.
It really is. And we also have the iconic Pixar lamp.
Oh, the lamp is a perfect example.
You know the one, the cute little desk lamp that hops out and playfully bounces on the letter I at the start of every Pixar movie?
We all know it. It's so safe.
Well, in this CGI nightmare, instead of bouncing on the rubbery, cartoonish letter I, it aggressively and brutally crushes the child character Andy from Toy Story.
The visual of the Pixar lamp is such a brilliant example to break down.
Why is that one so effective?
Let's look at the animation physics there. In the original movie intro, the lamp is animated with a principle called squash and stretch.
Okay, what does that do?
It gives the metal a feeling of lightness, buoyancy and life. It bounces with this joyful rhythm.
Right, it feels playful.
Exactly. What the horror animator does is strip away that buoyancy. They change the digital weight of the object.
Oh, wow. I never thought about the digital weight.
Yeah. When the corrupted lamp jumps, it moves with the heavy, jagged physics of a hydraulic press.
Oh, that is so visceral.
The timing of the descent is faster. The impact has zero bounce. It is just a crushing dead stop. The horror is conveyed entirely through the manipulation of digital mass and velocity.
That is a brilliant point about the physics, because the movement itself is what feels wrong before your brain even fully processes what is happening.
Exactly. Your brain registers the wrongness instantly.
And the sources list so many of these corrupted icons. There is an evil cookie monster aggressively stepping on Olaf, the snowman from...
Just mashing IP together.
Right. There is a towering, rabid version of Papa Smurf hiding inside a rusted trash can in a dark alley.
Which is such a bizarre visual.
It is. We see Sonic the Hedgehog represented as Sonic.exe, which is this deeply unsettling, bloodied version of the character moving with terrifying, unnatural speed through a realistic suburban house.
Sonic is already fast, but they make it predatory speed.
Exactly. We see Huggy Wuggy and Kissy Missy from the game Poppy Playtime. We even see a pack of evil Teletubbies out in the real world, literally destroying a car like a pack of wild animals.
That's a complete saturation of corrupted nostalgia.
But wait, hold on. Let me push back on this a bit.
Okay, sure.
I get being scared of a monster in a dark hallway. I do.
Yeah.
But if I am sitting at my desk and I am watching a video on my phone and my logical brain knows that I'm just looking at a digital rendering of Barney the dinosaur or Cookster.
Right, it's fake.
Yeah. Why does my brain actually trigger a real fear response? Shouldn't my adult logical brain override that immediately and say, that is a guy in a purple dinosaur suit. This is stupid.
You would think so, right?
Yeah. Like, is relying on pre-existing intellectual property just a cheap parlor trick because these creators cannot invent something original?
No, it's not a parlor trick at all. It is a highly engineered exploitation of your neurology.
Really? How so?
To understand why your logical brain fails to protect you here, think of your brain like a computer's antivirus software.
Okay, I'm with you.
Over the course of your life, your brain has built up a whitelist of safe files. Thomas the Train, Elmo, the Pixar lamp.
Right, things that have never hurt me.
Exactly. When your brain's visual cortex sees those shapes and colors, it essentially bypasses the security scan.
Ow.
It categorizes them as safe, comforting, and predictable.
So my guard is completely down before the video even starts doing anything scary.
Your guard is non-existent. These CGI artists are essentially writing visual malware and they are disguising it with a trusted file name.
That is so sinister.
It is. Think about it. If an artist designs the brand new monster, let's say a generic slimy alien with sharp claws,
Right.
your brain's antivirus software flags it immediately. The boundary is clear.
Because it looks like a threat.
Exactly. The monster box is checked, your adrenaline spikes, and you prepare for a threat.
Yeah, that makes.
But when the threat wears the exact face and color palette of Barney the dinosaur, your brain experiences a severe processing.
Oh, so it is literally trying to open a safe file that is actually a virus.
Yes, exactly. There is a fraction of a second where your subconscious says, friend, safe, approach. Right before the conscious mind registers the jagged teeth, the heavy animation physics we talked about, and screams, danger, run.
Wow.
That friction, that lag in processing creates intense cognitive dissonance, forces you into the uncanny.
No, I have heard that term thrown around a lot in video game or sci-fi, but what exactly is the uncanny valley?
So the uncanny valley is a concept in aesthetics and robotics.
Okay.
Imagine a graph where the horizontal axis is how human or familiar something looks, and the vertical axis is how much empathy or comfort we feel toward.
Got a mental picture up.
As a robot or an animated character looks more human, our empathy goes up. A cartoon dog is cute. A realistic mannequin is okay.
Right, we can relate.
But right before you reach 100% human realism, the graph takes a massive plunge. It drops into a valley. This happens when something looks almost perfectly human or familiar, but something tiny is off. The eyes are dead, the skin texture is wrong, or the movement is too rigid.
Like a wax figure that looks a little too real, or a corpse.
Precisely. Evolutionary biologists theorize that this valley exists as a survival mechanism.
Really? A survival mechanism for what?
It is our brain's way of hardwiring us to avoid dead bodies or people carrying infection. We are repulsed by things that look human but lack the spark of life.
Oh, that makes so much evolutionary sense.
So when these TikTok animators take a beloved character, render it with hyper-realistic textures like wet fur, rusted metal, or bloodshot eyes, and give it unnatural movement, they are deliberately dropping you straight into the deepest part of that uncanny valley.
They bypass your threat detection and then trigger your deepest evolutionary.
Yes.
That makes the horror so much more efficient. The artist does not have to spend 5 minutes of screen time building up tension, establishing a creepy atmosphere, or explaining the lore of why a monster is scary.
They don't have time for that in a TikTok anyway.
Right. The tension is already baked into your own childhood nostalgia. The moment you see Cookie Monster, but he's giant, feral, and crushing Olaf, the fundamental rules of your reality are just broken.
Absolutely shattered.
And what really stands out in the transcript Tyler reacting to these compilations is that it is not just our childhood memories being invaded by this.
No, it extends to our spaces too.
Yes. It is our physical, geographical safe spaces too. The environments these CGI artists choose to place their monsters in are incredibly...
The geography of the fear is arguably more important than the design of the monsters themselves.
Well, I totally agree.
Because if you put the scariest monster in the world in a brightly lit grocery store, it loses its power.
Right. And when you look at the environments described in these TikToks, they seem to fall into two extreme, diametrically opposed categories.
What's
On one end of the spectrum, you have the vast, inescapable unknown. Usually this means the ocean. The ocean is everywhere in these comments.
Ah, yes. Thalassophobia, the intense, persistent fear of the sea or of sea travel.
Yes.
Is one of the most common and potent phobias because it relies on our biological limitations.
And these artists exploit those limitations flawlessly. Let me paint a picture of one of the videos Tyler watched. Wild.
Go for it.
So the perspective is from a scuba diver exploring the dark depths.
Already terrifying.
Right. The only light is the tiny narrow beam of the diver's flash. You can see the particulate matter floating in the water.
Yeah, that murky look.
And you can hear the heavy, rhythmic, claustrophobic sound of the diver breathing through the regular.
Sound is so isolating.
It is. The beam sweeps across the empty black water. And suddenly, from below, a colossal, pale, humanoid hand simply reaches up from the abyss.
Ugh, just a hand.
Just a hand. But the scale is incomprehensible. The hand just wraps around the diver, the camera shakes wildly, and the video cuts.
See, the audio design there is crucial. By isolating the sound to just the breathing, the animator forces the viewer to internalize the diver's vulnerability.
You feel like you're the one in the suit.
Yes, you are hyper-aware of the need for oxygen in an environment that has none. And visually, the limited light source removes your peripheral vision. You are blind to the vastness around you.
And they play with scale in the ocean constantly. There is a video featuring a giant kraken wrapping its tentacles around an oil rig.
Classic sea monster trope.
Yeah, and there is another one where the viewer's perspective is safely seated in a helicopter.
Okay, so you feel a little detached.
Right, you are looking down at the choppy water, feeling somewhat safe because of your altitude, and then a prehistoric megalodon just breaches the surface and completely decimates a massive cargo ship below. The jaw alone is the size of a city block.
It just makes you feel so small.
Exact. Tyler reacts to deep-sea creatures with these twisted, bent, bloody teeth illuminated only by a camera flash. At one point, after a particularly brutal, Tyler literally yells at the screen, "I am never going in the ocean again."
And honestly, fair enough.
Seriously. And the creators even bring that vast oceanic dread into absurd, surreal terror. He watches a video where a giant, terrifying great white shark is inexplicably swimming around in a standard suburban backyard swimming pool.
Okay, that specific video, the shark in the pool, is a perfect collision of the two geographical extremes we were discussing.
How so?
It is the intrusion of the unfathomable deep into the manicured domestic space. It breaks the spatial logic of the world.
Because a shark can't fit in a pool.
A shark cannot physically fit or survive in a pool, but there it is. It tells the viewer that nowhere is off limits.
Which brings us to the exact opposite end of the spectrum. The intimately mundane, the home, the places where you're supposed to be the most.
Right. If the ocean's about the fear of the vast outside, this is about the fear of the intimate.
Yeah, the artists are violating these spaces constantly.
It's so invasive.
Tyler watches a video from the perspective of a camera that has been physically attached by her.
Oh, I hate that already.
The camera is crawling low to the street, the movement is jerky and fast, and then it slips under the crack of a front door and couch.
So you are seeing the domestic space from the perspective of an invader.
Yes.
It forces the viewer to identify with the infiltration.
Exactly. And then the perspective shifts to the victim. There is a sequence where someone casually checks under their bed.
Oh, no.
The camera pans down, the flashlight clicks on, and they lock eyes with a creature huddled in the dust ruffle.
The classic monster under the bed, but hyper-realistic.
Right. And there is a moment that Tyler specifically calls out as incredibly nasty, where a disgusting, twisted, gray hand reaches out from underneath the rim of a toilet bowl while the viewer is approaching.
See, the toilet scenario is deeply rooted in evolutionary vulnerability.
Wait, really? The toilet?
Yes. Think about wildlife. An animal is at its most vulnerable to predation when it is drinking from a watering hole or when it is eliminating waste.
Oh, wow. I never...
Human beings are no different. The bathroom is a space where we are physically anchored, partially undressed, and completely mentally relaxed.
It's like the ultimate safe zone.
Exactly. So to introduce a threat into the plumbing itself, a space we implicitly trust to carry things away, not bring things to us, is a massive violation.
It is a total violation. Tyler's watching another bathroom video where a horrifying, corrupted, hyper-realistic version of Kermit the Frog is aggressively slamming its body against a bathroom door, trying to break through the cheap wood.
Kermit the Frog,
yeah?
Lily.
Yes, Kermit. And Tyler actually yells at the screen, "I'm trying to take a dump in here. Quit knocking on the door."
That's hilarious, but also terrifying.
The humor is totally there in his reaction, but the underlying concept is incredibly invasive. You have locked the door, which is the universal symbol of establishing a safe boundary, and the monster is actively destroying that boundary.
Because it proves that your domestic safeguards are illusion. The thin wooden door will not stop the threat.
And maybe the creepiest one in the domestic category relies on mapping.
Oh, the nightstand one.
Yes. The viewer wakes up, the camera pans to their night, and there are 4 creepy miniature humanoid figures just standing there.
Please look at it.
Yeah. The viewer pans the camera away to the dark hallway, looks back at the nightstand a second later, and suddenly there are 5 figures. They are multiplying in the bedroom while you look away.
That targets the brain's spatial memory.
How does that work?
When you fall asleep in your bedroom, your brain creates a precise 3D map of the space. You know where the door is, where the dresser is, where the nightstand is.
You can navigate it in the dark.
Exactly. If you wake up and something in that map has changed without your permission, your amygdala, the fear center of your brain, fires an immediate alarm.
Because something is wrong.
Yeah. The multiplying figures weaponize object permanent. They are moving when you cannot see them, which implies a predatory intelligence.
And the artists do not even let the sky above you remain a safe space.
What do you mean?
There is an incredibly surreal video Tyler reacts to where the viewer's outside, standing on a lawn, looking up at the real-life blue sky with fluffy white clouds.
Okay. Sounds peaceful.
Suddenly, the illusion of the world just shatters. The firmament itself, square ceiling tiles, like the cheap acoustic tiles you would see in an office building or a high school classroom, start falling from the blue sky.
Oh, that is so trippy.
And behind the false ceiling of the world, you see massive, terrifying monster arms moving around in the dark infrastructure.
That is pure existential peril. It is simulation theory rendered as a horror short.
It totally is.
It suggests that reality itself is just a terrarium managed by something monstrous. The claustrophobia moves from the bedroom to the entire universe.
But here is where I struggle with the narrative. There is one specific clip that Tyler reacts that highlights a potential flaw in genre.
Okay, what is it?
The viewer is driving a pickup truck down a dark forest road at night. The headlights are illuminating the tree. Suddenly, Siren Head appears in the road.
Siren Head.
Now, for the listener who might not know, Siren Head is a very popular internet monster created by an artist named Trevor Henry.
Right, he's iconic in this.
Yeah, it is a towering, 40-foot-tall, emaciated skeletal figure, and instead of a head, it has a pole with two massive rusted emergency sirens attached. It broadcasts air raid sirens, distorted music.
The auditory component of Siren Head is what makes it so effective. It mimics the sounds of human emergency systems to disorient its prey.
Right. So the driver sees this massive, terrifying thing in the head. And the driver actually does the smart thing.
What do?
They expertly throw the truck into reverse and hit the gas. They are speeding backwards down the dark road.
A completely rational response.
Yeah. Tyler even praises the driver, saying, "That is great reaction time. The guy does everything right."
But I'm guessing it doesn't work.
It does not matter at all. The camera shakes, there is a massive crunching sound of metal, and the truck is obliterated. The monster catches them anyway.
Of course.
So I have to ask, if the monster is completely inescapable, if no amount of skill or logical action can save you, doesn't that make it boring?
Boring.
Yeah. It feels like playing a video game where the game over screen is mandatory.
Yeah.
If I know I'm going to die no matter what I do, all attention deflates. What is the point of the narrative if agency is completely removed?
That is a very astute observation, but it requires us to shift how we define the goal of the horror.
Okay, shift it how?
You are right that in a traditional narrative, like a 2-hour slasher film, tension relies entirely on the possibility of escape.
Right, if the final girl has zero chance, why watch?
Exactly. If she can't outsmart the killer, the movie is a depressing slog. But these TikToks are not traditional narratives.
What are they then?
They are microdoses of absolute fatalism. They are not telling a story about survival. They are simulating the feeling of total powerlessness.
So the lack of agency is the feature, not a bug.
Exactly. The horror does not come from the thrill of the chase. It comes from the stripping away of your control.
Wow. Okay.
Whether you are suspended in the middle of the dark ocean with a colossal hand grabbing you, or sitting in your own locked bathroom with Kermit breaking down the door, or driving a truck with expert precision.
It all ends the same way.
Yes. The fundamental terror is the realization that the rules of reality no longer protect you. The locked door means nothing. The expert driving skills mean nothing. The buoyancy of water means nothing.
You are just prey in an indifferent universe.
Yes. It forces the viewer to confront a scenario where their choices are entirely irrelevant. And it is fascinating to consider which of those environments scares the viewer more.
Yeah, like what's your specific trigger?
Exactly. Is it the vast, crushing isolation of the deep ocean where you are completely alien, out of your element, and at the mercy of scale?
Or is it the violation of the intimate, mundane, the thing multiplying by your nightstand, the hand reaching out from the toilet plumbing?
Right. The independent artists creating these videos are casting a massive, varied net to ensure they hit every single viewer's specific geographical and psychological vulnerability.
Which honestly sounds exhausting to endure.
Oh, it would be.
If you were just sitting alone in a dark room, scrolling through a raw feed of inescapable dread, corrupted childhood memories, and violated safe space, it would be unbearable.
Your nervous system would completely fry.
It would, which is why we do not usually watch these CGI animations in a vacuum. We watch them through someone else. We watch them with Tyler.
We use the reactor as a proxy, a buffer against the trauma.
The entire ecosystem we are examining today relies heavily on Tyler, the host of Capi Reacts, acting as the audience's surrogate.
Right.
We are not just watching the horror, we are watching him watch horror. And the transcripts show that the audience relies completely on his running commentary to break the tension of these nightmare videos.
It's vital for the viewer.
His psychology as a reactor is a fascinating study in human coping mechanisms.
When you analyze his verbal reactions, what is striking is how he essentially performs the exact internal coping mechanism that the viewer at home is feeling, but he externalizes.
He speaks the panic out loud, and he does it in such distinct, almost absurd ways.
Give me an example.
One of the primary behaviors you see him exhibit is bargaining.
Bargaining with a video.
Yeah, he tries to negotiate with these digital pre-recorded monsters. It is completely irrational.
That's amazing.
At one point, a terrifying, grotesque creature is approaching the camera, taking up the whole screen, and Tyler leans into his microphone and says, "I got some dog food."
Dog?
Yes. He is trying to offer it food to make it go away.
That is so...
Another time, he encounters this massive, ancient-looking entity with a giant, ticking grandfather clock for a head.
How creepy.
And Tyler just starts complimenting it. He calls it a very majestical clock and an ancient artifact.
Trying to flatter his way out of getting killed.
Exactly. He is desperately trying to flatter the monster to make friends with it so it won't step on it. He even yells at a terrifying SCP monster, "Quit yelling it!"
Okay, let's clarify what an SCP monster is for the listener, because that is important context.
Oh, please do.
SCP stands for Secure, Contain, Protect. It is a massive, collaborative internet fiction project where writers document fictional, anomalous entities and creatures that violate natural law.
They write them up like lab reports, right?
Exactly, all written in clinical, bureaucratic language. They range from harmless objects to world-ending gods. So when an artist animates an SCP creature, it comes with a massive amount of implied community-built lore.
Thank you for that. So Tyler is yelling at this lore-heavy, anomalous sound file to lower its voice as if he can actually reason with it.
It is a textbook display of the bargaining stage of fear.
Really? Like the stages of grief?
Yes. When human beings are faced with an overwhelming, inescapable threat, our brains desperately try to regain control by imposing social rules on the situation. Tyler is attempting to use diplomacy, hospitality-like, offering dog food and flattery on entities that exist entirely outside the bounds of human sociology. It is absurd, but it is a deeply human reflex.
And when bargaining inevitably fails, because the pre-recorded monster does not care about dog food, Tyler pivots. He starts creating arbitrary rules and his own personal lore to make the chaotic compilation feel predictable.
Oh, I love this part.
This is honestly one of the funniest and most revealing aspects of the transcript. Tyler establishes his own headcanon across disjointed random
He tries to connect them.
Yeah. Over time, he decides that Siren Head, who we have clearly established, terrifying, truck-destroying monster, is actually sometimes
Based on what evidence?
based on absolutely nothing. Tyler claims that Siren Head has helped us a lot on this channel.
He just makes it up.
He treats this chaotic, algorithmically generated sequence of random CGI clips as if it has a persistent, linear narrative, and in his narrative, Siren Head is an ally.
That's why.
In another compilation, he watches the demonic clown Pennywise get violently run over by a Ford F-150.
Quite the crossover.
Right. And Tyler immediately declares that's always a good ending. He creates a moral framework where literally none exists.
He is building a psychological structure to contain the digital chaos.
Why do we do
The human brain hates random, especially terrifying random. We are a pattern-seeking machine.
So we force a pattern onto it.
Yeah. If Tyler can convince himself that Siren Head is occasionally an ally, then there is hope in the narrative.
Right.
If Pennywise getting hit by a truck is categorized as a canonical good ending, then justice and consequences exist in this digital universe. He is overlaying order onto pure algorithmic.
But maintaining that mental structure, that performance of fear and order, takes a massive physical toll.
Oh, I bet it's exhausting.
Throughout the transcripts, you hear the sheer exhaustion of performing this for the camera. He breathes heavily.
Yeah.
He talks about his cardio getting better from all the phantom running he is doing while sitting in his gaming chair.
His sympathetic nervous system is just in overdrive.
Totally. He rubs his temples and complains that his head physically hurts from the stress of the jump scare. He constantly threatens to quit recording the video entirely, telling his audience, "Scary stuff isn't for me right now, guys."
The physiological response is real. The elevated heart rate, the cortisol dump.
But here's the brilliant irony of it all. Amidst all of this sheer, exhausting, performative terror, the true reality of the YouTube hustle never stops.
Never. The grind never sleeps.
Exactly. Tyler will get jump scared by a giant bloody shark crashing through a window. He will scream in genuine terror, clutch his chest, and in the exact same breath as his heart rate is spiking, he will calmly remind the audience to check out his secondary gaming channel because they are this close to 100,000.
That juxtaposition is incredible.
It's so fun.
It highlights the absolute artificiality of the YouTube environment while still validating the genuine physiological response to the scare. The terror is real, but the commerce is realer.
Okay, let me play devil's advocate.
Go for it.
If you, the listener, actively click on a horror compilation because you want to experience fear, why do you watch a video of someone else getting scared?
It seems counterintuitive.
Think about it. Doesn't Tyler's constant talking over the video, his joking, his begging the monster to eat dog food, his plugging his subscriber count, doesn't that fundamentally ruin the atmosphere?
I can see why you think that.
If I am trying to watch a horror movie in a theater and the guy next to me is screaming and promoting his podcast, I am going to be furious. Doesn't the reactor destroy the art?
He does not destroy the fear. He doses it.
He doses it?
Yes. He regulates the flow of it into your system. To understand the sociological function of the reaction video, we have to look at how humans have historically consumed horror.
Okay, historically speaking.
For thousands of years, human beings did not consume terrifying stories in isolation. We sat around a communal campfire.
Right, sharing.
We told scary stories, but we could look across the fire and see the whites of our tribe members' eyes. We processed the threat collectively. The group dynamic provided a safe.
But now, We're staring at glowing rectangles alone in our bedrooms at 2 a.m.
Exactly. The campfire is gone. And consuming intense, visceral, hyper-realistic horror alone in a dark room can genuinely overwhelm the nervous system.
It's just too much input.
The brain cannot always distinguish between a digital threat and a physical one, which is why your heart rate spikes.
Right.
Tyler provides a modern, parasocial safety net. He simulates that communal campfire experience through the screen.
How does he simulate it?
We have mirror neurons in our brains that fire when we observe someone else's actions or emotions.
Right.
When you are watching that multiplying monster by the nightstand and the tension is rising, you might physically flinch.
Yeah, you brace for it.
When Tyler literally jumps out of his seat and screams at the exact same moment on camera, his reaction validates your flinch.
He proves that I am not crazy for being scared.
Yes, it tells your brain that was a valid threat response. The tribe sees the threat too.
That makes perfect sense.
But more importantly, a second later, Tyler laughs, makes a joke about dog food, and plugs his gaming channel. Your mirror neurons process that too.
Ah, okay.
Your brain says, look, the guy on the screen survived the threat, and he is fine. We are safe.
Oh, wow. He is the emotional anchor that allows the viewer to experience the thrill of the adrenaline spike without the lingering detrimental trauma of genuine.
Exactly. He brings you back down to base.
He is the designated driver for a digital horror bin. He takes the wheel when we get too overwhelmed.
That's a great analogy.
But sometimes Tyler's commentary does not just make the video safe. His reactions highlight a totally different aspect. He highlights how utterly absurd they actually are. Because when you zoom out and look at the sheer volume of these TikTok compilations, the line between atmospheric dread and bizarre slapstick comedy completely dissolves.
That tonal shift is an inevitable byproduct of the medium itself. The architecture of the platform dictates the shape of the art.
And the architecture of TikTok demands constant, aggressive escalation.
It demands you stop scrolling immediately.
Right. We see this desperate need to top previous viral videos, leading to an escalation in scale that borders on the...
Oh, absolutely ridiculous.
There's a perfect example in the trans. Tyler watches a video modeled after the visual style of the game Minecraft.
Okay, the blocky style.
Yeah, everything is blocky and pixelated. The viewer's character is standing on a beach and they throw a small rock at a massive floating purple tentacle monster hovering over.
It is a classic David and Goliath setup.
Right.
The tiny human challenging the Leviathan.
Right. A standard provocation trope. But the monster does not just down and attack.
What does it do?
It retaliates by manifesting a mass-flaming meteor in the sky and hurling it back at the player.
A meteor.
Yes. The scale of the retaliation is so completely absurd that Tyler actually has to pause. He starts laughing in pure disbelief, saying, he said, oh, you're going to throw a rock at me. I'm just going to throw an entire meteor at you.
That's hilarious.
All the dread evaporates, and it just becomes a Looney Tunes sketch.
It is an economy of scale driven by attention. On a short-form platform, the reaction must be wildly disproportionate to the action to generate the necessary shock value to keep a viewer engaged.
And that shock value often pivots straight from horror into comedic surrealism.
The artists clearly know it.
They clearly know how absurd this digital arms race is getting, and they lean into it. Tyler watches a video where Freddy Fazbear, again, a terrifying, haunted animatronic bear, is inexplicably breakdancing on the floor at what appears to be a brightly lit sunrise slumber party.
Just completely removing the context of fear.
He watches a creature named Bendy from the game Bendy and the Ink Machine aggressively sprint all the way up to the camera just to petty kick a garbage can at the viewer and run away.
The subversion of the jump scare payload.
Yes, you brace for death and you get minor property damage.
That's incredible.
There is a terrifying tooth fairy animation. It has massive leathery wings and rows upon rows of jagged bloody teeth creeps into the bedroom.
Okay, back to standard horror.
But instead of doing something horrifying like ripping out the viewer's teeth, it generously drops a crisp $100 bill, a Benjamin, as Tyler excitedly calls it, on the bed as a tip.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Tyler's reaction completely shifts from fear to financial negotiation. He basically says, hey, take all my teeth at that point. I need the money. Just don't be...
So...
And then perhaps the pinnacle of this absurdity, there is the tippy-tappy monster.
Oh, the tippy-tappy monster is a fascinating case study in tonal whiplash. Let's break down the mechanics of that specific creature.
It is incredible. You have this creature with a terrifying, horrific, gaunt face. It looks like a demon.
Right.
But as it approaches the viewer's car, it does this incredibly cute, rapid little dance with its feet on the pavement. Pitter-patter, tippy-taps.
Tippy-taps.
It runs up to the car doing this adorable rhythmic dance, stops, and then violently punches the hood of the car with massive force.
And it's pure sketch comedy. You have the visual of a demon, the sound design of a cartoon mouse, and the kinetic action of a violent carjacking.
It's just so much happening at once.
It is a deliberate collision of conflicting aesthetic code. The artist is intentionally short-circuiting the brain's categorization process, not to create fear, but to create viral confusion.
And alongside the comedy, the creators just keep making things bigger. If they do not know how to make a concept scarier, they just scale it up in the rendering software.
Just make it huge.
Tyler reacts to giant, oversized grasshoppers invading a city. He reacts to a giant kissy-missy model towering over the background of an urban skyline like Godzilla. He sees a giant Woody from Toy Story awkwardly stuffed into the trunk of a normal-sized car.
It is a brute force attempt to manufacture awe when genuine dread fails.
It feels exactly like a digital arms race. Let's think about the mechanic. If an animator makes a video of a 10-foot monster and it gets 1 million views, the creator looks at the analytics and thinks, well, the audience liked big. A 50-foot monster will get 2 million views.
It is the Godzilla principle.
Yeah, but at a certain point, the scale breaks the immersion. A tooth fairy leaving a $100 bill or a giant Smurf hanging out in a trash is no longer scary.
Not at all.
It completely loses the threat of horror and becomes a bizarre, chaotic variety.
If we look at the structural realities of the internet, this entirely reflects the demands of the TikTok algorithm.
How so?
The algorithm does not reward slow, methodical, atmospheric dread. Think about a classic horror movie like The Shining or Alien. Pure atmospheric horror requires patience. It requires a slow, deliberate buildup of tension, an establishment of geography, and a heavy investment of time from the viewer.
Which you don't get in a 15-second clip.
Exactly. The architecture of a platform like TikTok actively discourages that.
Yeah.
If an algorithm sees that a user watched 3 seconds of a slow, dark hallway and then scrolled past it, it punishes that video. It buries it.
So the artists are forced to adapt to the machine.
Exactly. The creators have to replace genuine, slow-going dread with sudden, massive spectacle. They have to engineer a thumb stop.
A thumb stop. I like that.
They do this through sheer scale, like the giant Smurf, or through jarring juxtaposition, like the breakdancing Freddy Fazbear.
It trains the viewer to expect the unexpected immediately.
Yes, it delivers a quick hit of dopamine and adrenaline rather than the slow drip cortisol release of true horror.
It is fast food horror. It is high calorie. It is instantly gratifying. The packaging is bright and loud, but ultimately it is kind of hollow. It doesn't sit with you.
You just consume it and move on.
You just consume it and immediately scroll on to the next, which leads us to a really sobering structural reality about this whole ecosystem.
Yes, the vanishing trail.
Right. We know Tyler, the reactor. We spend 20 minutes with his face in the corner of the screen. We hear his jokes. We know his gaming channel. We know the monster Siren Head, the giant Thomas the Train, the breakdancing Freddy.
But we don't know who made them.
There is one crucial element completely missing from this entire digital landscape.
The origin point. The actual artists.
Yes. The final source document we have is an article snippet that addresses what it calls the vanishing trail of original creators. Let's look closely at the pipeline of how this content actually reaches a viewer's eyeballs, because it is a fascinating look at the modern creator economy.
Walk me through the pipeline.
At the very top of the funnel, you have original CGI art. These are incredibly talented, highly skilled digital animators running independent channels with names like Lights Are Off or Shortest Blockbuster.
They're the ones putting in the grueling labor.
Exactly. They conceptualize the shot, they build the 3D models, they render the lighting, they spend hours ensuring the physics of the Pixar lamp look perfect. They engineer the terrifying sound design.
It's highly technical, difficult work.
And they post their original work on TikTok.
That is stage one. The point of creation and primary distribution.
Right. But then comes stage two, the compilation channels.
Here come the middlemen.
These are accounts on YouTube with names like Brooks Geo, TikTok Trends, but I see it. These channels do not animate anything. They do not conceptualize anything.
They just harvest.
Yes, they scour TikTok, download 20 of the best videos from various original artists, stitch them together in editing software into a single 10-minute compilation, and upload that compilation to YouTube, usually monetizing it with ads.
Stage two is curation. It is an editorial function, but structurally, it operates as appropriation.
And then we reach stage three, the reaction channel. Tyler on Capi Reacts. Tyler goes on YouTube, finds the 10-minute compilation created by Brooks Geo, hits record on his camera, watches the compilation, adds his commentary, his panic, and his jokes, and uploads that final video to his audience.
So we're layers deep now.
We are. The text from our sources explicitly notes that it is a shame that you cannot find the original channels of these creators on YouTube. Because of this multi-layered pipeline, their art is consumed almost entirely through layers of middlemen.
It creates a massive friction of attribution. The platform architecture deliberately obfuscates the source to keep the viewer engaged with the current layer.
Let me put this in a real-world analogy to see if the mechanics hold up.
Let's hear it.
Imagine I am an oil painter. I spend 3 months painting a masterpiece. A gallery owner comes along, takes my painting without asking, and glues it onto a massive billboard collage, along with 50 other paintings from 50 other artists.
Okay.
Then a third guy stands on the sidewalk in front of that billboard, charging pedestrians $5 a ticket to watch him point at the collage and scream in surprise at the paintings.
That paints quite the picture.
The guy screaming makes a living, the gallery owner makes a living, the original painter starves in their studio. Who is the actual creator of the entertainment in that scenario? Is this just the natural evolution of digital recycling, or is this the structural erasure?
If we examine the digital economy, it is a structural reality of how passive media consumption.
What do you mean by passive?
The internet, by its very nature, divorces information and art from its original context.
Yeah.
When a piece of media goes viral, it becomes unmoored from its creator and becomes public digital property.
It just floats around freely.
Right. For the listener, understanding this pipeline highlights an uncomfortable dynamic about how we consume content. When we engage with compilations and reaction videos without actively seeking out the source material, the algorithm inadvertently rewards the curators over the creators.
The attention economy flows to the loudest middleman.
Yeah. The reaction channel secures the parasocial relationship and the ad revenue. The compilation channel secures the algorithmic boost and the raw view count.
And the original artist.
The CGI artist, the person who actually spent 60 hours meticulously rendering the reflection of moonlight off a digital monster's wet teeth, gets completely lost in the noise.
That is so depressing.
Their name might be in a tiny watermark in the corner of the screen, but it is compressed, blurred, and obscured by Tyler's webcam frame. It highlights how invisible technical labor fuels the entertainment we consume so effortlessly.
It really makes you think entirely differently about every single 10-second clip you scroll past. There is a mountain of hidden labor beneath every jump scare.
They're real.
We have covered a massive amount of ground. Looking at the architecture, we started by looking at how these brilliant animators ruthlessly corrupt our childhood hero, utilizing the uncanny valley and cognitive dissonance to turn our innocent nightmare, bypassing our mental antivirus.
We explore the geography of fear, from the inescapable, crushing depths of the thalassophobic ocean to the intimate, evolutionary violation of a hand reaching out from under a bathroom toilet.
We analyzed the vital sociological role of the reactor as our psychological safety net. We examined how they simulate the communal campfire, providing a space to process fear by proxy, utilizing bargaining and lore creation to impose order on chaos.
We watched the ruthless TikTok algorithm force these artists into an absurd digital arms race, demanding constant escalation until we are left with flaming meteors, giant smurfs, and breakdancing animatronics.
And finally, we pulled back the curtain on the digital economy itself to reveal the vanishing trail of the actual artist, whose terrifying work is swallowed up by a pipeline of digital curators and reactors.
And as we close this deep dive, I want to leave you, the listener, with a broader philosophical thought to ponder.
Let's hear it.
We talk extensively about the subversion of nostalgia, how the corruption of Thomas the Train or Barney relies on the warm, fuzzy memories of the adults watching them today.
Right.
But think about the generation of kids growing up on TikTok, right? This algorithmic, chaotic horror is their childhood media. When they reach adulthood, and the inevitable wave of nostalgia hits them in 20 years, what exactly are they going to be nostalgic for?
That's a great question.
Will they long for the innocent, helpful Thomas the Train that earlier generations knew? Or will their fond, comforting childhood memories be inexorably tethered to the massive, rusted CGI monster that ate a human whole? What happens to the psychological landscape of a culture when our digital nightmares become the very things we look back on for comfort?